And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And Cayman Enterprise City, Cayman's innovation hub. Discover your opportunity at enterprisecayman.ky. And Kirk Home Center. They've got a great deal in store for you.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. Welcome to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. We have begun the month of August. I know it began on Saturday, but really this is the beginning of the new work week. I know it was yesterday, but it's my first show of the week right now, so I've got to big up at the very beginning of August, the last month of summer. So many people are starting school in just a couple weeks, which is crazy because I'm still from the era of we go back to school in September. I still can't get over how soon students are returning to school in August. So in these last couple of weeks here, enjoy your summer. Slow down, take some time, enjoy time with family, friends, and loved ones. And of course, that time in the morning on the road when there's a little traffic to deal with. Enjoy it while you still can, everybody. All right, so on this segment of The Buzz, we're going to be talking about CareerMasters. Now, CareerMasters is a structured year-long program running from October to June, designed to fit alongside students' academic commitments while delivering meaningful, real-world experience. Here to tell us all about it is partner at Maples and Calder and founder of CareerMasters, Miss Christina Bodden.
Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for having me. I was so lucky to see Mr. Loxley as I walked in. It was such a pleasant surprise this morning.
Awesome. He's usually here in the morning before any of us, I want to say, maybe even before Susan sometimes. He is an icon. We just recently renamed the building after him last month.
I saw that. I was just like, thank you so much for having me at the Loxley Banks Broadcasting Center. And he was just like, oh my God.
He loves it.
I know.
He does love it. And I love that we gave him his flowers for him to experience it while he can. That's so important. So yes. Okay. Well, Christina, it's been, I think maybe about a year or so since I've had you on.
Has it been that long? Well, it's incredible because we're in the process of writing CareerMasters for the next year at the moment. And so it kind of feels like I was just here talking about it, but it may well have been because CareerMasters it's so immersive. Time can move quite quickly, but I'm so happy to be here and thank you so much for
no problem. It's a fantastic program.
Thank you very much.
From you explain it to me when you were here last year, it was my first time understanding about the program and learning about it, and I think you do such an incredible job.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about it, the background behind it, the purpose of CareerMasters.
So, it's funny when you're writing something or when you're creating something, right? Each year when I sit down and I think about all of the things that we've learned from the previous year and how to approach the next year, we take feedback in what we've learned and we implement that for the next year. And I sometimes sit down and I look at it and I'm like, what are you? It's like a painting, right? What are you? And what it is we are looking for ways in which to take local high school students and have them play to their strengths. So you may not know exactly what career path that you want to undertake when you come into the program, but you sure know it when you leave because we say, what are your strengths? Here are the careers that you might be interested in. And then they will pick a strain, pick one, and we then give them opportunity. So what the program does is level the playing field. And I've thought a lot about this. You're catching me at a time where I'm thinking a lot about purpose and succession and the future and all of those kind of things with CareerMasters because we've done 2 years now and we've done 2 successful years. We're coming into our 3rd. And the program is going to change a bit. But I think that what it really does is it is introducing dialogue and mindset that wasn't there previously into our young people. It is not a matter of whether I'm going to college and whether I'm going to have a career. It is which college I am going to and what I am going to do with my life, right? Mm-hmm. And so, the ultimate goal for CareerMasters is a shift in the way that young Caymanians think about their contribution, themselves, and ultimately a shift in their place in the workforce, right? Because I see a lot of I have historically seen a lot of young Caymanians come in and just not be prepared for what the interview process is going to be, not be prepared for what the workplace is going to be. And so the program is immersive. That is true. But it is the best year you can spend. And one of the things that always strikes me is that the student that comes into the program is not the same student that graduates. They have matured, they're aware, they're confident, they are much more polished and articulate. They're ready for the workforce.
Are these students that are in their final year of high school, or they've just graduated high school?
So the age range is between 15 and 18 years of age. And so we do have some students that do the program more than once. Mm-hmm. You know, we do have some students that are coming in that are going to apply to university the next year. It's no secret that I'm very public about the fact that, you know, I am trying to push students to look at university in the UK, and it's because Caymanians get home fees. And I also sit on the Education Council, and I know that budget matters. And my own son, that's sitting right out there, has just done his first year at Warwick. And so I understand the process. And I just think that, you know, more of our kids need to be looking at doing some time away at university and having that experience because it's very accessible for them. So, you know, I have a range of discussions with the students that come in. It can be either what university are you going to study at? There's a whole range of them, whether it's very academic, whether it's less so, whether it's more kind of trade-based, you know, there's all kind of opportunities out there. But what I'm doing is I'm planting the seed in their mind as to not whether I am going to move on with my education. It is in what way am I moving on?
Almost like you don't want them almost in a sense to have a choice of I'm not going to move on with my education.
Correct.
You
it's
want to
mindset.
make sure people are going to.
Right?
Yeah. So why mindset? Now, mindset is one of my favorite topics
because it's everything, isn't it? I mean, how you know, there's a saying that I picked up from something I read, in that if you change the way you look at something, the thing you are looking at changes. And it's very, very true. And so by changing the way that young people view themselves and their futures, it changes Cayman, right? It changes the way our pipeline of talent in every industry can look like. And so the program is built foundationally. So the kids come in, they have absolutely no idea what they are signing up. Well, maybe that's not true. We're in our third year in Kids Talk, so they kind of have an idea, right? We do our launch event, and I tell them exactly what CareerMasters is. We then move on to Module 1, and we talk about something that might seem very mundane, but it's not. And it is how to fill out a scholarship application correctly and impactfully. And this year we're going to do that very workshop style. So we use life options, and a shout out to Dr. Sherry, right, who is so fantastic with the kids. But I've restructured that module to do the completion of scholarship applications, but also interview skills. And Barrow International, who is our learning partner, does a spectacular. It's like speed dating. Like it is just like rapid fire questions in an interview, and you know, commenting on, you know, answer this, sit up straight, present your best self, all of those things, and they learn how to interview very, very well.
Do you know why they choose the rapid fire style of interviewing?
I'm not sure they do. You know what I mean? But it's a very kind of real world style of instructing how to interview. Because it's funny. I sit on the early careers committee at Maples, and you can come in with great academics and interview not that great. You can come in with good academics and knock it out of the park with an interview because you simply are just confident. And so having that level of presentation, but being aware that you need to know how to be astute, how to talk about yourself, how to talk about your interests, how to talk about why you're interested in something is very important. And so those communication skills are crucial. And that's a huge part of Module 1. The other thing that we've introduced this year is going to be continuing to talk about UK universities, and our partner is Royal Holloway in London. And they're very happy to Zoom in and talk about why you might consider a UK university. And they go through university life, they go through the UCAS process. And I think that's very helpful because it already, from the very first time the kid walks in, starts thinking about UK universities. And another new thing that we're bringing in this year is an executive leadership program. And I know it makes the course more immersive, but again, it lends itself to confidence. And we're going to be working with Blanchard Caribbean, who over the month of October is going to give some sessions on executive leadership. And I know that that's not something you would normally do in high school, but it's something a CareerMasters student would do.
Okay. I like this.
Yeah.
Now, there's a big focus on UK schools that you've mentioned so far.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been a trend of students not wanting to go to the UK? Because from my understanding, the UK is the primary choice for Caymanian students for post-secondary education.
I think, I think we probably, yes, a lot of kids do go to the UK. And there's nothing wrong if there's a particular course or something that's in the U.S. that you want to study that you can't get anywhere else. It's a very personal thing. Or if your family's originally from the U.S. or however, But it's very expensive in the United States. Very. And that can be a lot of student debt to carry. And so, if you are a young person who is applying for a scholarship, right, it can be much easier on you if you look at the UK where you get home fees, which is only, I think, $9,500. Then you only need to worry about covering your tuition, covering your accommodation and your food. And really, if you have the government scholarship and if you have another scholarship, you're really covered and you have the ability to really focus on your studies. And I just think there's such a network of Caymanian kids already in the UK, and Cayman Connection does such a great job of kind of bringing them together.
Yes.
I really try and push them towards looking at that option because it's already, number one, you get a fantastic education. I'm so impressed with what I've seen at Warwick. But there's so many other schools, especially that CareerMasters is partnered with. We have a group of Russell Group universities that we're talking to about building something similar to what I have here. So I have a group of teachers from all of the participating schools that work with CareerMasters, it being John Gray, Clifton Hunter, Cayman Prep, St. Ignatius, Grace, Triple C, and they all come together as a group of teachers to not only feed back to me what they're seeing in the program, but also to talk to each other. And so I'm also creating that in the UK across those universities.
What has that feedback from the teachers been for the students that have gone through the CareerMasters program?
So, something that has been a constant through this program is that our teachers are gold dust to us. Like, we meet with them quarterly. We ask them to tell us what the students are, how the students are reacting to different modules, how we can improve, what is going particularly well. All of those things, we meet up with them on a quarterly basis. And they come back and they tell us, this is really fantastic. I'm seeing a difference in this student in this way. This student isn't afraid to present in front of class now. I'm seeing shifts in confidence, all of these things. They also come back and say, one of them came back at the last teacher meetup that we had and said, can you do something on the skill of listening? And I heard that, and I write all of these things down so that I can implement them in the next year, because I really did hear that listening is so crucial. And it's something that, especially when you're a young person and your attention is pulled in so many different directions, you really may not learn how to do. And it's something that I think I certainly know some people that are incredibly good at it, and they tend to be, very valuable assets to wherever they are, because they hear people, and what people essentially want is to be heard.
And they're hearing the things not being said at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Those cues they pick up very much.
Yeah. And it's very important in our module too as well, because that is really the heart of the program. That teamwork experience is where we pair students. So, you have a student from John Gray, from Clifton Hunter, from Prep, from St. Ignatius. They don't know each other, but they have an assigned project, whether it's to put a business plan together, whether it's to address a community issue. And I might come up with questions on the environment, or on traffic, or on mental health, or on any number of things. Mm-hmm. And they have to go out and interview people in the field and come together and put together a presentation to give to whether it's a minister or somebody from civil service for feedback, just Shark Tank style. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is one of the most successful elements of CareerMasters, teaching this group of students that, okay, I'm going to go and do the research. Can you do the graphics? I'm not really great at presenting, but I'll try. But you really like presenting. Why don't you do the presenting? And it puts an onus on each student that I have a role, and my team are counting on me.
It brings me back to one of the main focuses of CareerMasters that you explained from the beginning was in helping students find their strengths.
Yes.
So in these group projects per se, they can work within their own strength, but then working with others to say, what are you good at? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Helping each other find the strengths and then how you can kind of blossom together to present.
Correct.
Let us hear about the students' experience of the ones that have gone through the Career Master program so far, because you're now about to enter your third year, right?
Yeah.
Right after the break, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future,
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance,
or protecting your family's household investment.
from our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Not sure where you fit in tech? Pathways in Tech by Enterprise Cayman can help you find your route. Whether you're interested in project management, computer support, or network systems, this program helps individuals explore practical, career-focused skills for real opportunities in Cayman's tech and innovation sector. It's beginner-friendly, job-relevant, special economic zone connected, and scholarships are available. Your path in tech starts here. Visit enterprisecayman.ky to apply today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. And on this segment of the show, we are talking and learning all about CareerMasters with founder Christina Bodden. She's also a partner at Maples and Calder. So right before the break, we learned about the feedback that the teachers were giving you about the students who'd gone through the CareerMasters program. Now, what about the students that have gone through this program? What have they told you upon completion? How has this changed them?
So it's very important that we track exactly how people are gauging each aspect of this program. So from the get-go, we identify students that we can see are going to be very receptive and are going to feed back to us. And we form like an ambassador group from each of the schools. And they will tell us how the program is tracking, how people are feeling about it, how are the frequencies of the session, how people are getting through. Because it is a commitment. You know, the girl that won our Star Award last year, and I look, we look at the whole base of students, right? So we may start out with 120, 130. By the time we finish Module 2, because Module 2, you have to really come out of your comfort zone. You're working with people that you don't necessarily know, and you are putting together a team project. We might come down to about 80 students, you know? So there are some students who peel off and maybe come back the next year. But I always can hear from, I always hear from students, Some people are nervous, but they don't want to leave because they want the career experience. They want the work placement. They want, they want to get more confident. They're nervous about their interview, so everybody is sticking with it. That is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that willingness to stick with it, even though you have a lot of other things, because that's work. When work, we all multitask. We have a lot of transactions on. We have our transactions and we have community work. We have to be able to balance a lot of things all at the same time. And so kids that come through the program, that stick through the whole thing, one of the things I recognize at Future Flex is you have to sacrifice to do this program. You have to balance your time. There are some things that you probably really would have liked to have done, but instead you have a CareerMasters assignment to do. That is putting some investment in yourself that will certainly pay back to you.
And very real life scenarios,
A
especially
very
when you
real
feel like I can't hang on right now, and I'm not sure if I want to continue with this new project or commitment.
Yeah.
You can't give up in life all the time.
Yeah, the girl that won last year, I mean, she impressed me so much. She was a student at St. Ignatius, and Module 2 is a group, right? When she started Module 2, her group actually didn't show up. So she did the entire project on her own. All of the research, all of the graphics, all of the presentation notes, and turned up to presentation day with everything done. And where we were presenting, unfortunately, the internet was out. So she had all of her notes in her laptop. She delivered it with no notes. And I asked her, I was just like, what made you do the presentation by yourself? She goes, ma'am, I need this work experience placement. And from then I knew that girl has grit. Mm-hmm. She is going places.
And she had to do it.
I
mean, nobody else showed up. So it was either, do I continue with this program or not?
Yes.
But to continue, if it's just me now, I got to do this project.
Yeah.
I don't know if she communicated. I'm the only one doing this, but she got it done. And she could learn to trust herself and her capabilities.
Yes.
That's so important.
And so when we said to her, we can put you with another team, but you'll be like a fifth member. And she was like, no, I don't want that. I already have in my mind how I want to do this, and I'll do it on my own. And so from then, she stood out to me.
Amazing. And she won the Star Award then.
She won the Star Award. And that was for, it was for other things too. She had really kind of demonstrated community kind of involvement as well, which is very important to me. It's very important to the Maples Group, who are our lead sponsor, along with PwC and AMA Cayman. I look for certain things in the students, and so the different components of the program are meant to be part of that mindset. It's not only your professional success and your professional readiness, but it's also the give back, which is what I call it, because I think, it's very difficult to be successful without helping others. I don't think it's possible. And I think a society that doesn't help itself will ultimately fall.
Or connecting with your community.
Connecting with your community.
So tell me about the community engagement part, because I know it's quite a big component of CareerMasters.
It is. We have a module called, the fabric of society being philanthropy. And we take that very seriously. Now, that's probably a product of me in a lot of ways. I've been at Maples for over 25 years. We're community stewards. We support so much of, the charitable causes in the community, and it's a huge part of my role there. And I think that also my family background probably has a lot to do with it. My family has served in Parliament. They've been public servants. And so it's ingrained in me to always give back. And so I've put that into the program. And so it's not only teaching them about competency and being, I don't want to say competitive, but you have to compete in these arenas, no matter what arena you're in. And it's about making them ready for that. But it's also imbuing them with the fact that in order to be successful in life, you have to help others, right? You have to bring the people with you. And so there is a big overlay in CareerMasters of talking about, especially in Module 2, we have an entire group that just works with a local charity. And it's not just volunteering your time. Do you understand what this charity does? And do you understand why they serve the way they do? Our partner for the last few years has been the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. which is, something that we've been so proud to be a part of. But the kids go, they learn about the history of the organization and also donate their volunteer time. And then they write an essay on why they feel that that work is important. And I think it's very effective in fixing their minds on why giving back is crucial in terms of their place in society. And I think that they know that by the end of the program.
Okay, excellent. I like it. So you are, as you started the show, you said you were writing next year's program.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by writing next year's program? Are you looking at the change, how the format, the curriculum is of it?
Yeah. So
what are you looking to introduce or change?
So the first thing that I have been thinking is the ultimate goal of CareerMasters to now has been work experience placements. The kids that come out of Module 2 are polished and they're very ready. And so we ultimately, based on their career preference to the extent that we can, place them in work experience placements. Now, in this life, as we know, no one owes you a job. No one owes you anything. You have to earn these things in life.
Yes.
But what CareerMasters does, which I think is fair, is give you an opportunity. Whether it's an internship, it's a work experience placement, you can't really be something you haven't seen. And so every single one of our students that elects to have a work experience placement, we place them. And so if it's 60, if it's 70, if it's 80, if it's 90, we place all of them.
Are you placing them within Maples and Calder?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Not everybody wants to
So you
do
do
law.
have the
and
partner company.
And I think that that's very interesting. Not everybody wants to be a lawyer and accountant anymore.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people may look at a firm like PwC or look at a firm like Dart and say, well, what else do you have to offer me? What other career paths are there?
Right.
And so it's really, I think, caused the firms to kind of open up and say, actually, there's lots of different career paths here. Do you like accounting? Do you like IT? Tech is huge in CareerMasters.
Yes.
Huge.
Yeah.
So is human resources.
Which is great because those are career pathways in the future for gay men. Well, now and in the future.
Yeah. I see a lot of people really interested in human resources and then going and doing psychology degrees and coming back and doing human resources. So it's just a matter of us, finding those placements that a student can learn from by being in the workplace, And so the work placement aspect was ultimately the goal. I think this year, what my realization is that I want to evolve the program and mature it a little bit. I want the students to have a plan because a work experience placement is fantastic and great and opens a lot of doors for you. And we have a huge success rate. I would say a good 20-25% of our students get scholarships, they get continuing internships, they stay with the firms we place them at. And that's a pretty good strike rate, right?
That's excellent.
But this year we're going to start with something called CareerMasters DNA, creating a plan. When you start CareerMasters, you get a plan. It is a pre-populated plan. And as you go through, you are going to fill in everything that you are learning through the modules as you go. When you get to Future Flex and you get that graduation certificate, you are going to get that and you're going to get a copy of your own completed career plan. And that career plan goes with you. You can change it, you can evolve it, you can change some things. As you grow, it grows. It's a living document.
I just want to say I think that is a great necessary little part to put in because so much is in our mind and we don't plan things out. And I can say this as a woman in her mid-40s that, if I had just planned a little bit better and mapped things out, maybe things would have been a little easier for me.
Yes.
So I think that's a great thing. We have less than a minute.
Yep.
So I want you to get the information on how people can apply, anything that they need to know about that before we got to go to the 8 a.m. news.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So we're launching in September.
Okay.
Right. So if you're interested in being a part of CareerMasters for 2026, 2027, please reach out to Mika at CareerMasters.ky. We are...
How do we spell her name?
It's Mika.
Okay.
We are going to intake probably about 100 students, right? We're going to have several events this year, which are going to be for the wider high school population. So we do Future Flex, and that's open to all high school students between the ages of 15 and 18. And then we're going to do one other event this year. I have to think about how it's going to be structured so that all students get a taste of kind of what CareerMasters is. But I think I'm going to cap this year at about 100 students. So if you are interested, I'm also going to get names from teachers, but please reach out. Also on our website, you'll be able to self-register for the program. But I'm very excited to see all of you. This program is going to be our best yet.
Okay, excellent. So for questions, we can email Mika, M-I-K-A, at CareerMasters.com.
Yes, CareerMasters.ky.
.ky.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're also on Instagram, but don't ask me where.
That's okay. Just look in the search bar, everybody. All right, we're going to go to the 8 a.m. news, and then right after the news, I have some open line, and I have a little bit of discussion prepared on cannabis reform. All right, so stay tuned for that right after the news.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Robert Atkin is the new Deputy Commissioner of Police following the retirement of Anthony Ennis, who served the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service for 45 years. Commissioner Kurt Walton.
I am greatly appreciative of retired Deputy Commissioner Ennis' service and have no doubt that the same loyal service will be executed by the incoming Deputy Commissioner, Robert Atkin.
And Deputy Commissioner Atkin says it's a, quote, tremendous honor to be appointed.
Since joining the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, I've had the privilege of working alongside exceptional police officers, police staff, and many of our partner agencies, all of whom are committed to making the Cayman Islands one of the safest places to live, work, and visit.
Brad Ebanks has also been appointed as Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police. Grand Cayman Marriott Resort announces a multi-million-dollar investment that will restore its shoreline and introduce a refreshed identity as Grand Cayman Marriott Beach Resort. The resort says the initiatives, quote, reaffirm the property's commitment to delivering elevated beachfront experiences while supporting the long-term sustainability of the destination. The Marriott says the government-approved restoration project will replenish the resort's beachfront with, quote, carefully sourced sand and introduce low-profile rock structures designed to stabilize the shoreline over time. The beach restoration is expected to finish in early September. The Marriott says the restoration is expected to generate about 150 new jobs and, quote, recapture business previously lost to erosion. And the port was pretty busy in the first 5 months of the year with more than 140 calls, up 1.5% over 2025. More than 267,000 tons of cargo were received through May, a 3% drop when compared to the first 5 months of 2025, and a 12% drop when compared in 2024. However, the amount of tons handled per hour did spike by nearly 20%. Jamaica remained the most popular origin of cargo imports with more than 78,000 tons, but that's a 10% drop when compared to the same period in 2025. Liquid cargo imports of gas, AV jet, and propane all increased in the first quarter, although diesel fell. Cayman saw a 5.6% increase in the number of cruise ship passengers visiting in the first 5 months of 2026. In regional news, Jamaican Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has announced that additional funding will soon be allocated to government's Roofs program, assuring Jamaicans affected by Hurricane Melissa who have not yet received grants that they have not been forgotten. Speaking during a tour on Friday, Holness said the initial allocation could only cover about half of the applicants. He added that the finance minister would soon announce the new allocation, quote, a few more days. Hurricane Melissa made catastrophic landfall in Jamaica late October 2025. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with David Harper. Big oil companies have reported record profits as the Iran war sends prices surging. Saudi Aramco has reported a 44% increase in profits in the last quarter. The 5 biggest Western energy majors have posted a combined net profit of almost $47 billion. Qatar says it's continuing efforts with other mediators to try to achieve a diplomatic resolution to the war between the US and Iran. Foreign Ministry spokesperson said Qatar, Pakistan and Oman were coordinating closely to facilitate negotiations, but no direct talks were currently planned. A mass funeral has been held in Gaza City for 112 people whose bodies were long trapped under the rubble of buildings hit during an Israeli strike in 2023. Hundreds attended the funeral for members of two clans. French officials say nearly 160 migrants have been rescued after their boat caught fire while attempting to cross the English Channel to Britain. No casualties have been reported. It's one of the biggest maritime rescue operations in the Channel in recent years. European Union interior ministers are holding an emergency meeting to discuss last week's influx from Morocco of up to 70,000 migrants into the tiny Spanish territory of Ceuta. The sudden surge caused concern in several EU countries. Ukraine has carried out a series of further attacks on logistics warehouses and oil infrastructure in Russia overnight. The governor of the Moscow region said 5 people had been killed and 10 injured in an attack on a warehouse south of the capital. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The Passport and Corporate Services Office is urging all residents to verify the validity of their travel documents and take steps to protect them ahead of the hurricane season, which starts the 1st of June. Residents are advised to check passport expiry date, verify entry requirements for their destination, apply for or renew passports and visas early, and make copies of passports and key documents and store them in waterproof containers. For more information, call 345-649-7678 or email passportandcorporate@gov.ky.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush. Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a second location in Governor's Square. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
The 8 a.m. weather update, brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Synopsis indicate a broad upper level low pressure system located over the Greater Antilles, along with deep tropical moisture across the northwest Caribbean, may aid the chance of isolated thunderstorms across the Cayman area over the next 24 hours. Further east, a tropical wave just east of Jamaica is expected to move into the Cayman area tonight, supporting additional showers. The wave is expected to move west of the Cayman area by tomorrow afternoon, decreasing the chance of showers thereafter. Radar imagery show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving southwest. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will rise to the low to mid-90s with a heat index of 109 degrees Fahrenheit. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with a 60% chance of showers and possible thunder, and showers will be locally heavy at times, and temperatures dipping to the low 80s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots with higher gusts in and around showers. And seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet as well. We're presently at a low tide, and the next high tide will be this afternoon at a minute after 2. A low tide again tonight at 7:53. The sun will set this evening at 6:58 and will rise tomorrow morning at 4 minutes past 6. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Thursday morning as the upper level low pressure system lingers just west of the Cayman area. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
set to battle, and your Aunt Angie was leading the pack when...
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with car damage?
Oh, right. Well, long story long. I took down the assassins and wound up inventing a new form of mixed martial arts. I became an international champion until one sore loser karate kicked my car. But I was covered with CG.
Covered for malicious damage and more. CG Brit-K. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brit-K, where people come first.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
Radio K-Man Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
Brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call me today, Michael Webster, at 925-5433.
UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on-demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
And Coca-Cola, from generation to generation, still a Cayman classic.
The #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning. Let's take a look at what's happening around the roads of Cayman. Shamrock Road is flowing at a moderate pace, further up and further down. A little different story as traffic a little steadier. Then for Pearson Highway, and traffic on Crew Road is moving at a moderate pace in both directions. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing pretty good. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, moderate flow of traffic, as well as Agnes Way. Turning our attention now to the Esterly Tibbetts Highway. Traffic over there is coming off steady but flowing. And continuing on to North Sound Road, moderate flow of traffic heading towards the Industrial Park area. If you've seen accidents, let us know by calling us at 949-6990. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Have a good morning and drive safe.
Start your year off right with Subway's Fresh Fit menu. 4 protein-packed subs with 20 grams or more protein, under 500 calories, and loaded with full servings of crisp veggies on hearty multi-grain bread. Try the grilled chicken and avocado, the ham and turkey stacker, the seasoned steak and avocado, or the turkey and ranch delight. Big flavor, plenty of protein, and fresh veggies in every bite. Fuel your day the Fresh Fit way. Only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman, the forum of the people. Join me, Art Connor, on For the Record on Radio Cayman. We put the tough questions to government officials, independents, and opposition members of our parliament. And from time to time, we revisit our storied past. Tune in on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Reach out to us on 949-6990 or 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp us 925-3261 or email talktooc@gmail.com. Your voice matters.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. It's Tuesday, August 4th. If you are just tuning in to join us this morning, welcome to the show. Thank you to my first guest, which was Christina Bodden. She's the founder of CareerMasters. If you have a child that is between the ages of 15 and 18, they're looking to do a little bit of work placement and get some really good, I'm going to say, training when it comes to how to transition from the high school environment or a bit of a university environment into the professional working place. CareerMasters has a fantastic program that will take you through several modules that will help you build the confidence, the presentation skills, some of the knowledge that might be needed, or will definitely be needed, I should say, when you enter the workplace. You also are placed in a position that aligns with an interest that you might have. Too often, we do some career or work experience, and it might be in a firm or an industry that we don't really have any interest in. Or we'll do it and we find, I might actually have some interest here. I thought I didn't. But at least with CareerMasters, they focus on your strength and they look at honing in on the strength and, I'm going to say pushing you, but guiding you towards going after what you want, what you're good at, and helping you build the skills to achieve that and to succeed in the professional workplace. So thank you to Christina Bodden. If you would like to learn more, you can email Mika at careermasters.ky. That's MIKA at careermasters.ky. They are accepting applications, I believe, in September. I think that's when the application window opens up. And the program starts in October and runs through June. So that was our first guest this morning, Christina Bodden with CareerMasters. Now, as I started, I did say that it is the official last month of summer. We are in our first few days of August here. July, I blinked and July just happened. That was really fast, which might be good or not because the heat out there right now is just absolutely incredible. So I kind of don't mind if these summer months fly by a little faster than usual because the heat is hitting a little hotter than usual as well. I think we can all agree on that. So in looking at some of the bigger stories that have concerned Cayman in the past couple of days, that's what I'm going to do right now. So I do have some open line. I'm going to talk about a couple of the stories, and then I have some notes prepared about cannabis reform. So if you want to weigh in on that, let me know what your thoughts are. Or if there's anything in particular that you want to discuss this morning, you can call us at 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp call or text me at 925-3261. So to get into the stories, who made it to the opening of Central Scranton Park on Saturday? I hope you made it. There was a huge turnout, strong community support, great vibes. The weather was cooperating, a lot of food, entertainment, and the opening of a pretty nice park. very nice park. I'm quite impressed with what they did with it. So to be sure to check it out, there is a center for older persons, there's a youth center, there's a walking running circuit, there's some ponds, a multi-purpose courts for basketball, pickleball, fields for five-side football or other sports, a calisthenics area. There's shaded areas where you can sit and enjoy some food or sit and read a book or just sit and relax and enjoy a park vibe. There's sculptures to check out. One of them almost looks skatable. I'm just going to say. One looks like you could kind of skateboard in it. I like that. And there's a whole lot in that park. So go check it out. Central Scranton Park. It's free. It's open to the public. It's one of the, I think it's the biggest kind of green area we have in the Cayman Islands for us to enjoy. That's there's Barker's National Park. A little different though. That's a little different. This is a man-made park. So in that sense, it's the biggest one we got in Cayman. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. So congrats to all the parties and the people that made that happen. So I'm going to turn real quickly now to some police news. And this was just announced yesterday from the RCIPS that after an extensive recruitment process, Her Excellency the Governor has announced the appointment of Mr. Robert Atkin, MBE, as the new Deputy Commissioner of Police of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, and Mr. Brad Ebanks has been appointed as Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police. This is via the rcips.ky press release section. If you go to their website, you can find the information there. Deputy Commissioner Atkins' appointment follows the retirement of outgoing Deputy Commissioner Anthony Ennis, who was in the police service for 45 years. Mr. Brad Ebanks has been appointed as Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police, and both officers took up their new positions on August 1st. So congratulations, gentlemen, and wishing you the best in your new positions. What I'm going to talk about now, this is important news for all employers, all human resource departments, immigration consultants, and anyone currently preparing a work permit, residency, or other immigration application. Even for the workers that are filling out these applications, you want to hear this, because effective yesterday, Monday the 3rd of August, Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman is accepting only the updated versions of its immigration application forms. Work issued an earlier reminder that applications submitted using outdated forms may face processing problems or delays. The updated forms are available through the Work website, and applicants with questions can contact Work Customer Care at 945-9672 or email work, that's W-O-R-C, at gov.ky. Now, I know that may sound like a pretty administrative routine, but let's think about this. A lot of employers, a lot of HR departments, a lot of immigration consultancy businesses, they have these forms already saved on their computer or printed out, stacks of them. But those are old forms. And the old forms, which we think we have handy and, easy access, saved in a safe spot for us to easily access, you got to switch out those old forms with a new one. Now, for a big company with a dedicated HR department, that might seem to be relatively straightforward. But for a small business owner, even a very small administrative change can be quite significant. So small business, it generally means a lot less employees or very few employees. So if you're using outdated forms, it could delay your work permit process and in turn cause a possible disruption in your services, and you don't want to do that. And I know that the small business owners, they generally wear all the hats. They're the owner, they're the worker, they do the marketing, they do the finance. they do all the jobs, or, quite regularly. They wear more than one hat. So in saying that, they're stretched with responsibilities, and being on top of more immigration change may be hard to keep track of because there's been a few this year. So make sure that as of yesterday, you are submitting paperwork using the updated immigration forms. If you're using the old ones, again, it could delay hiring or renewal of an employee. That could delay and affect business operations. It could also affect the employee, particularly where their legal right to remain or work in Cayman depends on the timely processing of an application. So for businesses that are about to submit applications, double check from now that you are using the correct forms. Do not rely on saved copies or templates on your computer or one that was emailed to you months ago. Use the newly updated forms that went into effect yesterday. And if you employ someone to prepare applications on your behalf, check with them to make sure that they have all the updated forms, because the last thing you want to find out is the people that you hired, the experts that you hired to get the work permit applications done for you, if they're not on top of it, that's not a good thing. So get it done. It went into effect yesterday. Go to work.ky. Again, you can call customer care or email them if you need more information. Turning to something else, it was just announced, I believe yesterday, for Cayman's vulnerable population and those who may struggle to access essential healthcare services, the system may have gotten just a little bit smoother for you. The Health Insurance Commission has launched a new online reporting system for the Segregated Insurance Fund, known as the SIF. The system went live just yesterday, so on Monday, the 3rd of August, and replaces a largely manual process in which approved health insurers submitted contribution information through emailed spreadsheets. But what exactly is the Segregated Insurance Fund? For those who don't know, like me, I didn't know what it was. So, the Segregated Insurance Fund provides financial support toward healthcare for people in the Cayman Islands who are indigent, uninsurable, or only partially insurable. In other words, it serves as an important safety net for people who may otherwise struggle to access essential medical care. The fund is supported through monthly contributions attached to health insurance contracts. For an insured person with no dependents, the contribution is $10 per month. For an insured person with dependents, the contribution is $20 per month. Approved insurers collect those amounts as part of the monthly insurance premium and pay the contributions to the Health Insurance Commission by the 21st of each month, covering the previous month. And until now, much of the reporting process relied on insurers emailing spreadsheets and submitting information manually. Government says that made the information more difficult to reconcile, and it also limited how quickly officials could identify missing data, errors, or changes in contribution patterns. Under the new system, insurers will upload their monthly reports directly through a secure online portal. The system will immediately check the information and confirm whether the insurer's reporting obligation has been completed. Now, I assume that at that step is where data errors or missing information will be flagged. If all the information fields are not properly filled in through the online portal, I assume that's where the system check will happen to say, hey, insurer, you did not fill out all the required information. So I'm assuming that is at least one of the steps in which errors will be flagged. According to the Department of Health Regulatory Services, the new portal should provide faster access to accurate data, make contribution trends easier to monitor, help identify errors or omissions more quickly, and improve oversight and audit readiness. So for those that are impacted by the Segregated Insurance Fund, if there has been some errors made to your with your contributions or in your data, and it could be a bit of a problem in receiving medical care, at least this online portal will make things, I'm going to say, a lot faster to reconcile any mistakes that may have happened and ensure that you get that care hopefully a little quicker than you would have in the old manual system. Health Minister, the Honourable Catherine Eubanks-Wilkes, said the new system will provide more timely insight into contributions made to the fund and help government make more proactive healthcare policy decisions. Superintendent of Health Insurance Mervyn Connolly said collecting these contributions is a key legal responsibility of the Health Insurance Commission and that the online system should make the process more efficient. Government also says that the platform should improve data security by replacing emailed spreadsheets with a secured reporting system, because we know how our data can be accessed through emails. So if this is a more secure process to protect people's data and ensure that less errors are made, I think this is a welcome and modern improvement to the system. So, although contribution reports are submitted by approved insurers, high-level info on the number of insured people will continue to be published on the Health Insurance Commission's website. The SIF portal is one of several digital upgrades being introduced by the Department of Health Regulatory Services, alongside online systems for policy terminations, practitioner renewals, and planned applications for new healthcare practitioners and facilities. For more info, the public can contact the Department of Health Regulatory Services on 949-2084. You can visit their website, or to hear in a lot more detail about the Segregated Insurance Fund and the new online portal, I'm going to be having them as guests this Thursday, 8:15. So check out that interview just in a couple days. So let you know about that. Now, we're going to go to a break, but when we come back from the break, I have a whole lot of notes prepared about cannabis reform, and I want to get your input. So be ready with your thoughts and calls. Let's take a break.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Not sure where you fit in tech? Pathways in Tech by Enterprise Cayman can help you find your route. Whether you're interested in project management, computer support, or network systems, this program helps individuals explore practical, career-focused skills for real opportunities in Cayman's tech and innovation sector. It's beginner-friendly, job-relevant, special economic zone connected, and scholarships are available. Your path in tech starts here. Visit enterprisecayman.ky to apply today.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Public voting is now open for the inaugural Making Waves People Choice Award, and now it's your turn to have your say. Visit CaymanConnection.org/vote to meet this year's finalists. Read their inspiring stories and vote for the Caymanian whose journey has inspired you the most. But don't wait too long. Voting closes on Sunday, August the 9th. Then join us live for the Making Waves Awards on Saturday, August 15th at 7 p.m. on the Cayman Connection Facebook page and YouTube channel. Go to CaymanConnection.org/vote and cast your vote today.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
All right, welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. If you are just tuning in, we are going to be talking about cannabis reform in the Cayman Islands. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Give me a call at 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us at 925-3261. Now, cannabis reform. Some people will hear those words and immediately think government is going to legalize marijuana. Others may remember that just last year, Cayman already decided what to do because a majority of voters supported decriminalization in the referendum. The question posed to voters in the referendum was, do you support the decriminalization of the consumption and possession of small amounts of cannabis? Turns out they did. In the April 2025 referendum, Cayman's voters supported the decriminalization of the consumption and possession of small amounts of cannabis. The official result was 10,385 yes votes, representing 55.64% of all ballots cast. I think it was more like 60%, but then there was like some disqualified votes, so it just came down to 55.64. However, the referendum was non-binding, as we know, and did not itself change the law. Well, since then, the forward movements have been made, and there is currently a document out for public consultation called Cannabis Reform: Options for a Harm Minimization Framework. It was published by the Cayman Islands Law Reform Commission on the 1st of July. And you, the public, has until September 1st to submit comments. It's just a few weeks away. This morning, I want to break down the 69-page paper into some ordinary language so we can have an informed discussion about what is and what is not being considered. And you can find the discussion paper at www.publicconsultation.gov.ky. As we get started, let's make an important distinction here between understanding the difference with decriminalization being different from legalization. They are not the same thing. What the Commission appears to be leaning towards is not the creation of cannabis stores, cafes, farms, and a free commercial market. At least, not yet. That's not what's being proposed in this discussion paper. It is considering whether Cayman should stop treating the possession and use of a small amount of cannabis as a criminal matter while still prohibiting its importation, sale, and commercial supply. You might be like me and be like, well, how does that work? If I can't buy it, it can't be imported, but then it would be decriminalized if a small amount of cannabis was found on me. How exactly am I supposed to get this cannabis? You might be wondering that. Well, we're going to get into that because this does set its own questions. It has its own kind of contradictions, but we're going to discuss that. But let's first understand what exactly the Law Reform Commission is and why they're handling this issue. So the Law Reform Commission is a body established under the Law Reform Commission Act. Their role is to examine areas of Cayman law that may be outdated, unclear, inconsistent, or in need of improvement, modernization. It researches the law, studies how other jurisdictions approach similar issues, consults with stakeholders and the public, and then makes recommendations for possible reform. The Commission itself does not pass laws. It cannot legalize or decriminalize cannabis on its own. Instead, it produces research, discussion papers like the one we're talking about now, and final reports that can assist Cabinet and lawmakers in deciding whether legislation should be introduced or amended. So in simple terms, the Law Reform Commission is being asked to answer questions such as, does the current law still serve its intended purpose? Is it fair? Is it effective? Does it produce unintended consequences? What alternatives exist? And what would the risks be if Cayman did change the law? The current commission includes senior attorneys, retired judicial figures, the Solicitor General, and the Director of Public Prosecutions, supported by its legal and legislative team. The official commission website describes its membership and publishes its consultations, discussion papers, and reports. So if you check out their website, you can also find the discussion paper for the cannabis reform there as well. When it comes to cannabis reform, the primary law being examined for reform is the Misuse of Drugs Act 2026 revision. That is the statute that currently makes recreational cannabis-related activities criminal offenses in Cayman, including possession, consumption, cultivation or production, importation and exportation, buying, selling, supplying, and distributing, and possession of utensils used to prepare or consume controlled drugs. The discussion paper points particularly to Section 3 of the Misuse of Drugs Act, which creates the main offenses, and Section 16, which sets out the penalties for cannabis consumption and possession. It also refers to Schedule 1, which defines and classifies cannabis, cannabis resin, ganja extracts, tinctures, and cannabinol derivatives as controlled drugs. And in this discussion, I'm going to be very careful as much as I can to just use the word cannabis, because a lot of the time we'll also use the word ganja, but ganja has cannabis resin, and so it is not considered just cannabis. Does this make sense? So, a bit more of an explanation on that soon come. So, why is this happening now? Following the referendum last April, on the 27th of June 2025, Cabinet asked the Law Reform Commission to examine several issues, including how much cannabis could count as a small amount, whether there should still be fines, how reform would fit with Cayman's existing drug laws, Cayman's international obligations, possible social consequences, and protections for children and other vulnerable groups. The Commission was also asked to examine how reform might affect enforcement and public safety. So, when it comes to decriminalization of marijuana, this paper will have you asking questions like, what quantity should be permitted? Where could cannabis be used? Should people be allowed to grow it? What happens to minors? What happens to old convictions? And how do we stop reform from creating new harms? So I said in the very beginning that we have to focus on the key term here, which is decriminalization. Most important term in this entire discussion. Under decriminalization, possession or consumption of a small amount of cannabis would no longer result in a criminal conviction. Now, there are two possible versions. One version replaces the criminal offense with something like a ticket or an administrative fine. The other removes the penalty entirely, provided the amount is within the lawful threshold. This does not necessarily mean cannabis becomes a legal commercial product. It's just decriminalized. A person might no longer be prosecuted for possessing a small amount, while the person who sold or imported it could still be committing a criminal offense. Now, if we look at the term legalization, it goes a lot further. It would allow the production and supply of cannabis under a regulated system, meaning government very much gets involved in the cannabis industry. I can tell you that's not going particularly well in some countries, but it's such an interesting and new issue for society to look at. So with bigger countries, Cayman has the advantage of seeing what is working and what is not working. And with similar jurisdictions, also what is working and what is not working, and how can we apply it to Cayman that also fits Cayman in a cultural context. So when we're talking about legalization, it could include licensed growers, processors, and retailers, product testing, product packaging rules, age limits, and, as I mentioned, government oversight. So the Commission examines legislation because it recognizes an obvious problem with decriminalization. If it is lawful, or at least not criminal, to possess cannabis, where is a person legally supposed to obtain it? That's the question I have for you. Let's take a quick commercial break right now, and then we got a caller, and we're gonna go to that caller right after the break.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Hi, Bobo TV cousin, everybody. I hear Cayman Airways celebrating their 58th anniversary by giving us the gifts. They got airfares on sale now for flights to every place they fly to next month through December. Look here, I go and book my flights now to go Galawantan next month with Cayman Airways. I'll see you on a directly.
Catch your seat on sale by August 8th. Other conditions apply. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com. Your award-winning, uniquely Caymanian airline.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about cannabis reform and the discussion paper that is out for public consultation right now. We do have a caller on the line. We do have a caller on WhatsApp, I believe. Let's take the call. Good morning. Thanks for calling The Buzz.
Good morning, Kathy. Last week I was dying to call you and chime in on the many callers who said something about the discrimination relating to I think it was the traffic fees and so on.
Good morning. That was on Talk Today, yes. But
yeah, I was on Talk Today.
Chime in on that, though. I'll let you chime in on that because I would love to hear what you got to say.
Well, but out of respect for you as the host, I want to chime in first on your topic for today because I have something to say about that too. You know?
I know you have a lot to give us.
Yeah,
so I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, you see, about the cannabis.
Yes.
You know what? Our challenge as human beings is often to be able to look forward and sort of be rational about something and say, where are we going to be in 10, 15, 30 years regarding a particular issue? Because we are all brought up usually in a certain situation. They will tell you that this is odd, this is good, this is bad. And so you grow up as a child, all that is baked in you. And when you grow up, there are some things you will say are wrong, but when you really ask why are they wrong, you will find that there's nothing more than the fact that you were told when when you were young that they're wrong. I mean, look at. Let me begin with the question you asked. Where do you get it from? Where do you get cannabis from?
If it's considered if it's considered decriminalized, where would you get the cannabis from?
Where do you get it from? Well, you get it from that person who will bring it in, the drug dealer who will bring it in illegally. Okay, you are really accepting that even those small amounts that people are going to have will have been illegally brought into the country. Okay, so in the first place, you are just making a law that is absurd. Okay, it is almost as if you are saying, well, you know what, if somebody steals money, it gives you some of that money. We don't care where that money came from. I mean, it doesn't make sense. If you look at the history of humankind, look at the issue about gays. A long time ago, or very recently, being gay was a sin. It was like against the order of nature, as if nature didn't create gays or God didn't create gays. Booze was illegal, now you can have it in State House, okay? Look at issues, for example, of adultery. I know this is a morning show. I won't get deep into that. Adultery is not a criminal offense. And you are making a small amount of ganja a criminal offense. I mean, I could go on about things they talk about, or it causes harm. Booze causes more harm and causes more addiction than ganja and all those things. You know, where I grew up, Kathy, people who smoked pot were the lowest form of life. Particularly if you were a woman, you were totally.
What do you mean? They were the lowest form of life. Like they were considered like. They were considered that, like that was your kind of, were you taught to believe that that person over there smoking pot is a low life? So you were taught to believe that. We were taught, but that's not necessarily true about the person.
Exactly. It might not be necessarily true. But the point I'm trying to make, maybe I'm taking long to make it, is simply this. Let us try to be more logical about these things. There is no logical reason today to say people shouldn't smoke pot. Half the Congress people in the United States have admitted to smoking pot. Barack Obama used to smoke pot. Bush used to do even worse drugs. And Bill Clinton, of course, smoked, but he didn't inhale. So three of your presidents... Okay, three of the last presidents, three of the four last presidents have done pot, and you still think that this should be illegal? No. What they should do is, like they've done in Canada, which you will be well aware of, is make it legal, but just regulate it. Like people beyond, like under a certain age, shouldn't smoke it, and that's all. Let's think in future. I have no doubt that in maybe 50 years' time, our kids and grandkids, maybe great-grandkids, will say, you know what? At the beginning of this century, you could go to jail for smoking ganja, and here we are smoking it at a party with our brothers and sister-in-law, and my mother-in-law smokes too. My mother-in-law really loves it, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's my long story about that.
I want to interject there and say I'm from British Columbia, Canada, right?
I know that.
And growing up, I don't know if they're defunct anymore, but you could vote for the BC Marijuana Party. We would go down.
You could what?
You could vote for the BC Marijuana Party. There was a political
BC Marijuana Party.
Yes, there was a political party that was called that. You could go to the headquarters, which was on Hastings Street in Vancouver. Now, almost where Hastings Street started to get a little shady, but that was where the headquarters was. And it's so interesting to me because that was 30 years ago for me when I first learned about that party. 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You could vote for them in Canada. 30 years ago.
Well,
and we're talking about decriminalization here now, which is so interesting to me.
It is very, very interesting. And, it's interesting that I know that Justin Trudeau is not from BC, although I think he taught there for a little while. I wonder whether he had joined that party because he smoked pot publicly one time, even as prime minister. And I believe that it helped him win re-election, because the pot takers, they say, this is our guy, So
it could be. It was certainly wasn't because of his policies. I will say that.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that as we try to sort of discuss this thing, we should remember that these things in future probably they will be frowned upon as to why did you do this in the past. Logically, there's no reason why people should not be allowed to smoke. I've never smoked it myself. I don't approve of it, but I accept that there are people who smoke it. More than I would imagine in Western countries, more than half the people have tried ganja. But now about the traffic issue. You see, the traffic issue, I love the question that you asked towards the end of during that discussion when you said, well, look, if we are going to discriminate between local people and foreigners in relation to traffic fees, where is it going to end? I like that question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because... yeah, are we? So next time, will it be electricity? Will it be next time? Will
my
it be
phone
water?
bills? Will it be my phone bills?
Yeah.
When I go in the grocery store, do I have to stand in another line now? It's these things. And I know. I'll let you finish your thought. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then will there be some special shops, where there are lower priced goods, where if you've got an ID as a Caymanian, you can get them for lower price, Mamdan type of shops. No, I think that this is something that rethink about. There's always this thing, like particularly about Caymanians and Jamaicans. Sometimes there's a little bit of friction there, as well as Cayman and British and so forth. And I think that as much as sometimes there's friction, sometimes we treat each other like cousins. But at the end of the day, if you do things like that, it will make it more difficult for people to see themselves as really that living in the same society. I don't think it's right. You remember, by the way, there was an expatriate association which was formed. They tried to form some time back. They tried to form an expatriate association. They advertised it, and the local people didn't like it. They said, "Look, why are you forming this association? It is going to be divisive." But maybe some of those people might want to form the association now because they need to protect themselves. Okay, there are some other stuff I would have said about that, but I've taken enough time. I just think that there are more important things in Cayman to deal with. The open buying of land is pushing prices up. That's what they need to deal with. The immigration matter, they have not resolved it. I see a report today in the Caymanian campus. The Cayman campus, which says very clearly that everybody now has been grandfathered in. Your 9-year period starts in this year, and all that. These are the things that they have to deal with. They not deal with this nonsense about this. Okay, now let me slow.
Hold on. I just want to clarify that point there. That 9-year term limit. What you're referring to is the new deputy governor, Miss Gloria McField-Nixon. She was the one who had a town hall with the civil servants yesterday. I think it was yesterday, yes.
Yeah.
And it was said in the town hall then that there is a date in September that the term limits will now start applying to expatriate civil servants. I honestly thought that was past January 1st that hit. I thought that started then, but no, I guess it's starting sometime in January.
No.
So that's what I think that might be what you were referring to for the term limits.
Well, that's the problem because it is not clear. The government seems to have said one thing initially, and then they said something different, and then they went back to it. Initially, when it was announced, Andre Ebanks, our good premier, said that your 9-year period will start on I think the date now is 1st of August, 2026. That's when your 9-year period starts. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you've been in Cayman for, say, 7 years, you will apply at the end of 8 years because you are still under the old law. That's what that meant, okay? But when there was pushback from the public, then they said, oh, no. Nobody will be grandfathered in that way. The only people who will be grandfathered in are those who've already applied, those who are appealing to the Immigration Appeals Tribunal, and those who are going for judicial review. I asked this question to Andre Ebanks when he was on another show, and they said, no. It will be only those 3 categories. But now we read, they are saying, no, it's not only those 3 categories. It is everybody who came to Cayman before the 1st of August will be under the old law, so that this new law will only start applying in 9 years' time and in 20 years' time. I just think that the government is not being very honest about it. They should clarify it. But finally, Kathy, there was somebody who called last week who said that the work permit is a privilege. I want to disagree with that person. The work permit is not a privilege. When you come to Cayman because you want something that Cayman has. And Cayman takes you because you have expertise that they don't have. So it is just a very nice deal that exists. Nobody should be overly grateful to the other person. We need each other, and that's why it happened. It is not a privilege. Once it's taken away, fine, it's taken away. But otherwise, it's a deal. Now, I'm very grateful for what my association with the Cayman Islands. Cayman Islands is my true second home, but don't tell me that when I came to Cayman to work is a privilege. It was a good deal, and I think let's celebrate it as such and not claim that anybody owes anybody anything. I thank you. I'll let you go.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts this morning. I really appreciate it. Definitely some interesting thoughts right there. What was interesting in the privilege versus right, I know that last week on Talk Today, when we were speaking about the DVDL license fees, I had posed a question to one of the callers. I was like, but isn't driving a right? Like, don't we have a right to drive? And a few days later, I was speaking with OC, For the Record host, and he said, Kathy, I want to talk about that show that you had. And he said, I want you to check out what are the UN deems are human rights for everybody. What's a right and then what's considered a privilege. And driving is not a right per se, it's a privilege. So I'm glad that OC clarified that for me. It's still something that I have to look a little further into and understand. And I know another caller as well had also stressed the word privilege when it came to driving, not a right. So I do appreciate that, and I'm going to look into what those human rights are and what we mean like by privilege versus rights, so I can have a better grasp of that going forward. Oh, that was crazy. that was the hint of you got to go to the 8 a.m. news. So you know what? Or 9 a.m. news, because clearly I'm still asleep. So we're going to go to the 9 a.m. news because we already heard 8 a.m. a little earlier, and then I'm going to get back to the cannabis reform discussion.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The Cayman Islands Coast Guard has been assisting the Jamaica Defense Force Coast and the Maritime, Air, and Cyber Command in a joint search and rescue operation regarding a missing fishing vessel by the name of Fever. The 28-foot yellow, white, and blue canoe-style vessel carrying 2 people on board left the Great River area in Montego Bay, Jamaica on July 28th on a fishing expedition. The searches have so far proved, quote, negative. In international news, 2 Wildberry warehouses were hit by Ukrainian strikes overnight on Monday, with another site apparently leaked to Russia's largest online retailer, also damaged near Moscow. Ukraine has been targeting facilities operated by the company, often dubbed the Russian Amazon, in recent weeks. At least 5 people were killed and 10 more injured at an industrial site about 43 miles south of the Kremlin. Kyiv says the depots supply the Russian military, which Moscow denies. And Michigan lawmakers are to deliver their verdict in a primary showdown that pits an established-backed congresswoman against a left-wing insurgent, exposing bitter divisions over the party's future. Moderate 4-term lawmaker Haley Stevens is presenting herself as the safe bet against former public health officer Abdul El Sayed, who's been channeling grassroots frustration with Washington politics. The outcome of today's closely watched vote could shape the party's direction well beyond Michigan ahead of November's midterm elections. The open Senate seat is almost a must-win for Democrats if they want to take control of the upper chamber of Congress and try to thwart Trump's agenda. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
HSA's orthopedic clinic has relocated to the 2nd floor of the Smith Road Medical Center. Our dedicated team of highly skilled orthopedic surgeons treat conditions ranging from spine to ankle injuries in adult and pediatric patients. We offer minimally invasive procedures from ligament reconstruction to hip and knee replacement. If you have experienced an injury due to sports or day-to-day activities, call 949-8600 and schedule an appointment with HSA's orthopedic clinic, now located at the Smith Road Medical Center.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are in the final 30 minutes of the show, and I am talking about cannabis reform, about the discussion paper that is out for public consultation right now. You can send your feedback. It's due by September 1st. You got to go to publicconsultation.gov.ky to download the paper and then submit your comments, because they're looking for your feedback when it comes to decriminalizing cannabis in the Cayman Islands. I don't know why I'm like twisting my words up today, but It happens. We do have a caller. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Buzz. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Calder. How are you?
I'm
Rambo
fine.
speaking.
How are you?
Morning.
Hi, Rambo. I know your voice. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you. Good. Yeah, my voice, like I told Austin Harris last year. Rest in peace. I told him, you. My voice is very hard to impersonate now.
Yeah.
Very hard to impersonate.
I agree.
I love it that way. I love that way. Like, in the Calder, everybody know I've been in person, the physical form. I know that form person. You know, Calder, you see the cannabis reform, no?
Yeah.
Right. The first I smoked cannabis when I was 9 years old, 1993. Right. My neighbor 14 years old, 5 years older than me. You know, neighbor 6 years old. Right. And I was always academically intel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I would finish connection, swimming. Right. After school.
Mm-hmm.
Going football practice, go taekwondo, martial arts. So I always focus. Okay.
Gotcha.
And 6 years ago or 5 years ago, this Dr. Watler, he taught me he's from Colombia, came on to connection. I bought a book from him, Challenges and Emergencies of Societies, right? I read that thoroughly during the COVID. Sexual orientation, recreation, drugs, and immigration. Okay? And then my Uncle Elvis, we went on campaign for that, we die hard for that, right? No weed, no vote. That's a punchline, that's a drive.
Oh, Elvis is your uncle?
We in Elvis is my uncle.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, my uncle. My uncle, man. And now, you see, the Park government, September 2001, they emulate my Uncle Elvis for decriminalization. We were prison though for foolishness because provocation and aggravation. And true say I have a herb conviction. And that's a problem with the justice system. If you're that, they break you off. They break it off on you. Right? You're innocent, but they break it off on you. Though they did wrong in my last role, you're up northward, I pled guilty, I shouldn't. So due to the government.
That was a different matter though, right?
Yeah, a different matter.
Right.
Yeah. That is domestic self-defense.
Right. I remember us speaking about it.
Yes. You see, due to the musical chairs, with the government shifting up, that was a big distraction. Okay? And then last year, we had a referendum. First of all, Calder, in the mean government or admin, the first 100 days, that is sweet spot. Execute that right away. They should have done that. Right?
Well, they somewhat did execute. They executed the Law Reform Commission to go and study this, to start work pretty much like almost 2 months after the election date.
I know this government, they have the 10 points, the criteria, the bullet points we don't want to do. But in a sensible government, they should have done that. That's a social issue. Right? Calder, give me 2 minutes because I know you have all the callers. First of all, Calder, you see this misuse of drug art?
Mm-hmm.
It's very archaic, antiquated. That designed as an instrument for moral control, not a public health statute. You see the Cayman disciplinarian, or this disciplinarian foolishness, the justice system, it is meant to be a carceral governance, carceral police state, right? Treat citizens, moralize down the class. Okay, that's all it is. So it's a money making monetized from justice system, probation officers, forensic urine tests, money making. And it's simpler, democratically.
I mean,
so it is neutral, protecting the justice system, being neutral, because we know society who in the heart of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
White collar jobs.
Yeah.
And seem to the shred, but I hide from that. Yeah. The Calder, nobody expressing me, especially in Cayman Islands. Nobody. Yeah.
You know what's so interesting to me, Rambo, and I don't know if you heard the previous caller when he said when he was growing up, he was taught to look at people who consume ganja as low life. They were the lowest level. They weren't necessarily that person, but they were taught to look at that person that way. You could be the most brilliant person. And we know Elon Musk, as much as I can't stand his character, his personal character. He's an intelligent man still. You can't take that away from him. And that's an example of somebody who openly smokes. You can't say he's dumb. You can't say he's not successful.
No.
For example, right? I might not like his personality, fine, but you can't take away those accomplishments. And he's an avid smoker, for example, right?
Okay. Kathy, give me 2 minutes, please. You see Elon Musk, coincidentally, he followed me on Twitter 2 weeks ago, right? He followed me. He must be on social media, I don't know. But what happened now, right? He's radical. Even Steve Jobs, he's a marijuana too. That I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And the last previous caller, he break down the presidents. That I knew. But at least he break it down to the public here.
Mm-hmm.
You see, K-Man mentality is the most critical claim back in days with marijuana, right? Who consume marijuana now? They're the same ones that critical claim and writing off ganja, right? Right now, or who graduate the harder substances. You see? Double standard at that time, that era.
Yeah.
So, you see, it came on now, Captain. Obviously, you see, prescription opioids, synthetic drugs is lethal.
Yeah.
Lethal. Right away. That put to sleep, oh, right? Eternal sleep, death. So, when it comes to herbs, it's a herb or not. Marijuana is a herbs. The only danger of herbs is got fentanyl in it, or somebody put cocaine in it, you don't know. That's all this. That like Margaret ever say,
right.
Go away, smoke.
Right,
That's
right.
all this simple.
Yeah.
Simple. So, if we go in here, what call us in the US now, marijuana consumed is up, alcohol decrease, and tobacco. So who against certain states now, but like the carceral states that will keep this criminalized? Who lobbying for the alcohol, tobacco, Budweiser or whatever? That way it is. And I hope, like my email, if everybody properly, I'm at school, yeah, I'm at school, so it might get from me. And like I said again, I'm Calder. I spent $1,050 for one draw herb, $50 for that blueberry, $50 for the residue my scissors, $500 for my blueberry Rizzler, and $500 for the draw. I started a big toenail. And I told that judge, I tell her, you better reimburse my money when it came on, free up these herbs. And I joked with her, and that was that. She back when it came on. Now do with me. But
the size of my toenail, which is, just to put it out there for people, that's less than a gram. That's less than a gram. So, you just said the size of my toenail, if that's what you were caught with. Okay, thank you, Rambo. I appreciate your call, your perspective. I agree with some of your points for sure. And despite it being a herb, despite it being a natural plant, it can still be abused. And there are arguments against it, which are still very, very valid. And we can't dismiss those arguments either. So the Law Reform Commission is looking at both sides of the table here, especially how this could impact the vulnerable populations. Could this cause even more harm? Could this framework introduce more harm? So those are some of the things that the Law Reform Commission is looking at. Let's go to our final break, and then we'll get into more about the cannabis reform.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise
at Cayman Insurance Center. Call today.
Not sure where you fit in tech? Pathways in Tech by Enterprise Cayman can help you find your route. Whether you're interested in project management, computer support, or network systems, this program helps individuals explore practical, career-focused skills for real opportunities in Cayman's tech and innovation sector. It's beginner-friendly, job-relevant, special economic zone connected, and scholarships are available. Your path in tech starts here. Visit enterprisecayman.ky to apply today.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home
Hi, this is Joey Hugh, Leader of the Opposition. On behalf of myself and the entire opposition, I extend heartfelt congratulations to Radio Cayman on your 50th anniversary. For 5 decades, you have served as a trusted voice for our people, informing, educating, and connecting our islands with integrity and dedication. Your commitment to public service, broadcasting, has strengthened our democracy and preserved our Caymanian identity. We honor this milestone and the many men and women who built and sustained this national institution over the years. Congratulations on your 50 years of service to the Cayman Islands.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and I'm on the last little bit about the cannabis reform discussion, the topic that I brought up to listeners this morning. I thank a couple of our callers for calling in and giving their opinions, sharing their thoughts when it comes to decriminalization of cannabis in the Cayman Islands. So when we're looking at this discussion paper, the Commission's preliminary recommendation is that Cayman should take a more cautious route. So to decriminalize possession and consumption of small amounts, possibly permit limited home cultivation, but continue prohibiting importation, production for sale, distribution, and retail. So when I asked that question earlier, is it lawful, or at least, if it is lawful, or at least not criminal to possess cannabis, where is a person legally supposed to obtain it? And one of the suggestions in this paper is that residents can cultivate their own plants. They're allowed to grow up to 4 plants per household. That is one of the recommendations here. So our current law, a review of our current drug law to understand the system we're currently working with. As mentioned, cannabis is controlled under the Cayman's Misuse of Drugs Act. I don't know if a separate Cannabis Act will be introduced, or if this one would just be amended. Medical and therapeutic use of certain cannabis extracts and tinctures is already permitted under Section 2A of the Misuse of Drugs Act when prescribed by a medical doctor. However, this current consultation is mainly focused on recreational possession and consumption, not medicinal or therapeutical uses. In current law, the paper points out that the maximum penalties written into law are severe, as we heard from one of our callers, indeed. For consumption of cannabis or cannabis resin, the law provides for a fine of $3,000 and imprisonment with hard labor for 3 years. For possession of less than 1 pound of cannabis or cannabis resin, the law provides for a fine of $20,000 and imprisonment with hard labor for 7 years, with higher potential penalties for repeated convictions. That shows that Cayman's legal system is very, very serious about how they treat cannabis possession. The report also examines enforcement data, and in 2023, RCIPS recorded 150 drug crimes. Possession of ganja accounted for 73 cases, or almost half of the recorded drug offenses that year. Now, what I would like to know is what those possession amounts were. Are we talking a spliff, an ounce, or a pound? The paper says drug offenses increased in 2024, mainly because of a 36% increase in ganja possession offenses. Now, this may sound a little crazy to some people, but on the bright side, ganja use may have increased, but at least we didn't see an increase in cocaine or crack or fentanyl or MDMA. I'm just going to say that. That might be a good thing. However you want to look at it. The Commission also notes the RCIPS explanation that police are not necessarily going out specifically hunting for minor users. Possession charges might arise when police are investigating supply, firearms, or other offenses, or during an unrelated interaction with someone, like let's say pulled over in a traffic stop, for example. Now, an unrelated interaction with someone can result in a very minor possession. So I'm interested to know how many arrests were for relatively small quantities and not the bigger busts. That point's important because decriminalization could reduce the number of people brought into the criminal justice for simple possession, freeing up a lot of time and police resources for far more serious matters. Drunk driving, domestic violence, child abuse. Those are my top 3. Nothing is more serious to me than the drunk driving and the child abuse and the domestic violence. Those are victims in a situation. Police are also raising a concern that small possession offenses can sometimes provide a point of contact that leads them to more serious criminal activity. And that's glaringly obvious. So once you get caught, you're always going to be on a radar pretty much. They're always going to try to connect you, even though I'm 99% sure they know exactly who the people are that are dealing with everything. So now, the title of the discussion paper, as I said, is Cannabis Reform, Options for a Harm Minimization Framework. The focus is on harm minimization. The question being asked is, which legal approach causes the least overall harm? The Commission suggests that prohibition is justified only if it does 2 things. First, it meaningfully reduces cannabis use. Second, it does not create more harm than it prevents. For example, it does not lead to even greater drug use or other offenses that could be related from drug use. The paper argues that prohibition has generally failed to stop cannabis use, and cannabis remains the world's most commonly used illicit drug. The Commission also identifies possible harms caused by prohibiting cannabis. There's the criminal convictions, which can damage employment prospects. People may be less willing to seek treatment because they fear arrest. Police prosecution and court resources are used on minor offenses. The illegal market remains unregulated. I mean, it's an illegal market, so how is it supposed to be regulated? Users do not know the strength or content of what they're buying. And profits continue to flow to illegal dealers and organized crime. However, the report also acknowledges that prohibiting cannabis probably deters at least some people. You know, fear of breaking the law is fear enough to stop people from engaging. So the fear of arrest, social stigma, and the difficulty of finding a supplier may reduce demand. Removing those barriers could increase use, particularly if reform eventually develops into legal retail sales. And a reminder, the Commission is not suggesting to move to legalize marijuana or for retail sales. In essence, cannabis can be harmful, but criminal prohibition may not be the most effective way to manage that harm. The Commission compares this with alcohol and tobacco. Both can cause addiction, disease, accidents, violence, and harms to families. I know so many people who have been in drunk driving accidents or have taken the lives of somebody else from drunk driving, or I've known people who've had their lives taken from drunk drivers. I've never once in my entire 46 years of existence heard of a marijuana-impaired driver taking the life of somebody else. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm saying I have never, in 46 years of existence, heard this. We know it happens all the time with alcohol, especially in Cayman. However, we manage legal drugs and different substances through age limits, licensing, taxation, public health education, and restrictions on where they can be used. When it comes to children and young people, now this is an area that the government really wanted the Commission to focus on, because are we going to be causing more harm to our vulnerable people? The discussion paper cites Cayman's 2022 student drug use survey. Among students aged 11 to 18, the average age of first marijuana use was 13. If you can remember from our last caller, he said he was 9 years old when he first tried, and I believe he said it was given to him by, I think it was a 14-year-old neighbor, if I heard that right. The average age of first alcohol use was 11. 14.1% reported having used marijuana at some point in their lives, and 5.3% reported using marijuana during the previous 30 days. By comparison, 40% had consumed alcohol at some point, and 13.1% had consumed alcohol during the previous 30 days. That was a student survey, ages 11 to 18, the student drug use survey that was done in 2022. So you have 40% of the students who answered have consumed alcohol at some point in their life, in comparison to 14% having tried marijuana at some point in their life. Alcohol more than doubles the rate of use for teenagers. So cannabis is not the most commonly used substance among students. Alcohol was significantly more prevalent, followed by e-cigarettes. That does not remove the concern. The Commission says cannabis can be particularly harmful during adolescence, affecting memory, learning, attention, brain development, we know this now, and the risk of early onset psychosis, particularly in vulnerable young people. And I do want to make the point that there's a lot of studies being done right now about the long-term effects of marijuana on the brain. Psychosis is definitely something to keep in mind. It therefore suggests that cannabis among children should remain an offense, and that cannabis should not be stored where children can access it. But the Commission also asks a difficult question. Should minors caught with small amounts be given a criminal record? Or should they be diverted into counseling, education, or treatment? The consultation offers two broad possibilities. One, decriminalize possession for minors as well as adults while using health and education interventions. Two, keep it prohibited for minors, but replace criminal prosecution with an administrative penalty or diversion program. So my question to you is, what happens when a 16 or 17-year-old is caught with a small amount of cannabis? Should they get a criminal conviction? But adults, if they're caught, won't need one. This is under the cannabis reform. Should that young person be arrested and prosecuted? Mandatory counseling, community service, a drug education program. These are the things that you can weigh in on and give your feedback on when it comes to this paper. This is what the Commission is looking to get from the public, their input on things like this. Where could cannabis be used? So the paper asks exactly that. The Commission's preliminary position is that cannabis use should not be permitted in public. It proposes that consumption should be restricted to a private residential dwelling, and even there, not when children are present. The concern is not only intoxication, it's also secondhand smoke, nuisance odors, public discomfort, exposure of children, and the difficulty of regulating public behavior. This means decriminalization would not necessarily give someone the right to smoke cannabis, even on the beach, at a public park, outside of a bar or a club, on the roadside, or at work, in a vehicle, or at a public event. The paper does not propose cannabis cafes or public consumption lounges. It asks whether private residential dwellings should be the only permitted place, which raises another question. What about somebody living in a rented apartment? Could a landlord prohibit cannabis use? What about a strata property? What about smoking on a balcony? So these are the kind of questions that are in this discussion paper for you to give your feedback on. Should there be a fine or no penalty? So when it comes to the fines, the Commission asks whether possession and consumption should attract an administrative penalty or none at all. An administrative penalty would work something like a traffic ticket. A person would receive a notice and pay a fine. If the fine is paid, there would be no prosecution and no criminal conviction. That could sound like a reasonable compromise, right? Or should we have a fine at all? However, the Commission is not convinced that it adds much value, and how does the fine make sense if it becomes decriminalized? It really doesn't, in my opinion. The Commission's concern is that a fine may not deter cannabis use, but it could disproportionately affect people on lower incomes. I mean, if you're on a lower income and you're able to consume cannabis, go and buy it and consume it, I don't want to hear you complaining about a fine because you were able to go buy it, and now you're upset because you got caught, and now you got to pay the fine. Like, but again, if it's decriminalized, why is there a fine, right? So a lot of different things for us to look at. The last note that I'm going to say is what type and how much. Are we talking about all forms of cannabis? No. The Commission's preliminary proposal is very specific to decriminalizing dried cannabis. It would not extend to cannabis resin, concentrates, high-potency extracts, vapes, cannabis syrups, drinks, tinctures, gummies, cookies, candies, or any other edible cannabis products. Why? Because many of those products contain much higher levels of THC, the main intoxicating component of cannabis. And some are more attractive to young people and easier to consume without detection, especially how they market and brand a lot of these packages, specifically to attract younger consumers. So, a lot to say there. And when we're looking at quantity, the preliminary recommendation is 30 grams of dried cannabis on a person, so that you could have up to 30 grams of cannabis on you, which is just a little over 1 ounce. And if home cultivation is permitted, 150 grams of wet or freshly harvested cannabis. I'm here to tell you that 150 grams is, well, it's a bit more than a half a pound of dried cannabis. And if it is 4 plants that is being proposed per household in Cayman, that's more than 150 grams, maybe not. I guess it depends. I guess it depends on how you grow it, your seed, other factors. So, the Commission's comparison table shows that this is similar to limits used in Canada, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, and Dominica. The Commission has very much looked at neighboring jurisdictions. I'm talking Jamaica, Trinidad, Belize. I said Trinidad just now, right? A few other countries, Bermuda. Did I mention Bermuda? There's a whole bunch of countries in the jurisdiction that the Law Reform Commission looked at to compare when putting this discussion paper together. I have so many more pages of notes on this, so much more to discuss. I know that we've been getting some WhatsApp calls, but we're at the end of our show right now, so we can't take any more calls. Thank you. I will be bringing this topic up again in open line because there's just so much to go through. Again, go check out the public consultation. The website is publicconsultation.gov.ky. I should have said go check out the discussion paper at the public consultation website. All right, you have until September 1st to give your thoughts on some of the recommendations that I have just mentioned here, okay? They need your input in helping shape what this law could look like and what the decriminalization process of cannabis could be in the Cayman Islands. I'll be back with you on Thursday on The Buzz. Have a great rest of your day.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And Cayman Enterprise City, Cayman's innovation hub. Discover your opportunity at Enterprise Cayman.